career at all when he started out in Bellator and you were fighting for world titles?
I mean, not necessarily. I try to keep an eye on the division, but I definitely became more familiar with him in the PFL.
And then you have 3 times the amount of fights that he does. How much of a factor do you think your experience will play on fight night?
How much is... It's hard to say exactly, you know? It's always a fight, it's always a competition. Usually experience is something that is very valuable, and but it's not everything, you know?
And then John Jones recently retired. Did you have any thoughts on that?
God bless John Jones.
Hi, Phil. Yeah, so sort of similar to what you said, your opponent is young and he's never gotten the distance as a pro, very powerful. Is there anything that he possesses that you haven't seen before, or do you feel totally ready?
I mean, you set me up for an arrogant statement. You know, like if I say he doesn't have anything I haven't seen before. I mean, I've never seen him before, and I think that, you know, each person brings something unique and special into the cage, and that's important to recognize that, you know, I think I consider what I do kind of, you know, it's art, and you know, I think everybody brings something special, and you have these opportunities to do something unique in each competition. So no, I think he has a lot I haven't seen before. But I think what you're really asking is how effective will it be? Remains to be seen.
We're going to take this, actually. Thank you. Good luck.
Do you hear me? Good. So Sullivan was here, he said that you're out of your prime and that he's entering his prime. Do you think that's true? Do you think that you are out of your prime, or you still got something?
Depends, you know? When someone is, you know, you are what you tell yourself. You know, if he's in his prime, that he's framing it as a younger person. You know, again, experience isn't, it's not everything. It's something though, and you know, he speaks like a guy that hasn't gone to the second round.
And he also said that the cardio, he thinks his cardio is one of the best in the game compared to anyone. Do you plan on testing that out? Do you think that that's true?
You said compare him to anyone?
Yeah, to anyone in the game, any fighter that his cardio is, you can put him up there with him.
Can we compare him to anyone?
And you tell me.
I don't know. How can we compare him if he hasn't been to the third round? You should have stopped him when he said that. You should have stopped him and said, how can we compare you if you haven't been to the third round? You can't let people come up here and say anything. You are the media. You gotta call them out.
What should I ask him next time?
Next time you say, Sully, how we gonna do that? How we gonna do that if you ain't never been to the third round? Say it just like that.
How you feel? Man, you have such longevity. You have been fighting different eras. Now you're one win away to being the final and the big prize. Man, what kept you going and how you keep evolving after all these years?
I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm having fun. Each day I continue to you know, have fun in my training. You know, a lot of people get to a place, maybe it's 20s, maybe it's 30s, maybe it's 40s, and they say, I've done what I need to do and I'm ready to move on. But for the people who continue to keep going on and they're doing it at a high level, they're probably doing a lot of things right. And I just enjoy what I do, and I love going to work every day and training and working on new skills and getting better.
Thank you, Phil. Good luck.
Thank you.
Phil, when we talked recently, we said you're not new to this, and you said you're true to this. And just listening to you today, how much of this, the tournament and where you're at in your career, is more about personal satisfaction, gratitude, and not so much about a headline or a belt or anything like that?
Right, you know, honestly, it's just, you know, it's kind of like one of those things, like, I just enjoy competition, I enjoy competing, I enjoy the process, I love seeing a plan come together, I love working hard, and then seeing my hard work come to fruition, and that's just where it is, you know?
I know I also mentioned this to you that, you know, you and another veteran in the tournament, Liz Carmusha, both mentioned the same thing, bucket list finishes and bucket list things you guys want to achieve throughout this tournament. What do you think it is about the World Tournament format, the single elimination, that brings a bucket list to the spotlight for yourself?
You know, I just love getting it done, you know, especially with no playoff, you know, every win is, you know, that's the world championship. So you definitely have to get it done in regulation. You don't want to leave it to the judges. So yeah, you definitely want to work to get that finish.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, obviously, outside of course winning this tournament, is there anything else that you have left on your career bucket list, just given that you've been in around the game so long and in multiple promotions and whatnot? Is there anything else you'd like to achieve besides obviously this tournament that you're currently in?
Good question. What else would I like to achieve? Let's see. Obviously, becoming the PFL champion. You know, I can't really say, you know, I feel like there's a lot of more opportunities out there, and I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one specific thing, but I think there's a lot more fun to be had after the PFL tournament.
For sure. Best of luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Yep.
Shady.
Shady, Shea from the Dungeon. Phil, how are you?
Doing well.
In your last fight was not only a special day just because of the incredible finish, it was also PJ, your eldest son's birthday. So tell me a little bit about what that celebration was like that weekend, having the incredible joyous birthday and your victory to celebrate.
Right. It was definitely really cool. I unfortunately had an awful day of travel getting back to San Diego, so most of the festivities I missed, which was just absolutely terrible. It was just missing one flight after another flight from, I think, weather or something. I don't know. But when I finally got home, you know, let everybody stay up late, and we just ate cake and hung out and played video games until they fell asleep, and I was the last man standing. So it all worked out. But yeah, it was a great day.
Very nice. I was upset to hear that you didn't use the Faith as the best space for MMA that we discussed last media today, but it was nice to hear about your son's birthday, and I hope you have better travels this time around.
Thank you.
One more quick one for me. So in your last fight, you went to a war in the first round, and you sat on the stool, came out, and you had a different level of focus and control. And it was an incredible feat to watch you do. It only took you 51 seconds to finish that fight. I often wonder what it's like to be on that stool and how much information from your corner can actually get through with the rush and the energy of the fight. So talk to me about what they said to you, if you remember, and did they tell you something that kind of realigned you and gave you that fire in your eyes?
No, it's not even about, fire, in your eyes. I think my cornerman just said, you got the read that you want. You're getting the reactions that you want. You're seeing the right things. Just go ahead and pick up the pace. Start landing. Start moving forward. A lot of times I like to get a really good read on the guy. Figure out their distance, their rhythm, their movement, before I really open up and become offensive. And sometimes it can be a little bit too much. Sometimes not so much. I can be fairly offensive while still making really good reads. But what he saw was that I was being too conservative and I was still measuring, and my cornerman just said, yeah, no, you got the right look. Just go ahead and start opening up.
Thank you for the insight. Best of luck, sir.
Last question, Lorenzo.
Hey Phil, thanks for taking the time for us. Your opponent Sullivan has a lot of hype around him, and for good reasons, with plenty of first-round finishes. Can you speak a little bit about how your experience in fight history helps you to look past all the buzz surrounding your opponent?
Yeah, so I think in order to be a top-level athlete, you have to be a top-level performer. And that means that you put yourself into a headspace where nothing else matters. In order to be a top-level athlete, you have to be able to tell yourself that none of the external things, how many wins, how many losses, how many this, that, you're in their home city, they've never lost, with red gloves on, or any of the other stuff that comes into sports, right? In order to be a top-level athlete, you have to be able to say, so what? You have to be able to say, it doesn't matter, I have to find a way to win, no matter what. And I'm sure there's a lot of hype around him, and for good reason. I think he's a great fighter, and I think he's going to be a name that gets tossed around for many years to come. I don't think that's going to be none of those things are false, and none of them are going to be disqualifying to me for why I went on Friday night.
And last for me here, as a human being, and more so as a martial artist, you never really stop learning. At this stage of your career, what are some things you can take away from your recent fight camps in terms of improvements that you feel like you've made, even with as much success as you've had in the sport so far?
So what improvements have I made, and what have I taken away in the last couple of fight camps? Is that what I got?
Yes. At this stage in your career, how have you managed improving?
So I'm a big Formula One fan, so I'm going to give you a Formula One kind of reference here. Let's just say at the beginning of your career, you're building a car. You're building a car. You're building a base, and you're trying to get as fast as possible. And later on in your career, you're just fine-tuning, and you're just making micro adjustments to get the maximum amount of speed out of the car that you've created over the last, 10, 12, 15 years. Does that make sense? And that's kind of what I do. I am the same fighter, but it comes out in different ways. I'm just fine-tuning my reactions and different stuff in different areas, and grappling and striking, but very much the same.
It's always a pleasure to watch you fight, Phil. Can't wait for this one. Thank you.
Thank you.